Well, hello again. Welcome again to another episode of Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded podcast. And I'm your host, Rish. And today, as we continue on, we're going to be in the book of Numbers yet. And we're in chapter 16. And we're going to come to Korah's rebellion. So, with that said, let's read our scripture. Now, Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Korah, son of Levi, Adan, and Danathan and Aram, uh, the son of on the son of Purla, son of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with the number of people of Israel, 250 chiefs of the congregation chosen from the assembly, well-known men. And they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said to them, You have gone too far, for all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourself above the assembly of the Lord? When Moses heard it, he fell on his face, and he said to Korah and all his company, In the morning the Lord will show who is his and who is holy, and who will bring him near to him. The one who has chosen he will bring near to him. Do this, take censers. Korah and all his company put fire in them, and put incense on them, and before the Lord tomorrow, and the men whom the Lord chooses shall be the Holy One. You have gone too far, sons of Levi. And Moses said to Korah, Hear now, you sons of Levi, is it too small a thing for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself to do service in the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister to him, and that he has brought you near him, and all your brothers and sons of Levi with you? And would you seek the priesthood also? Therefore it is against the Lord that you all and against the Lord that you and all your company have gathered together. Was what is Aaron that you grumble against him? And Moses said to call uh, Daneth and Berjam, or however you pronounce it, I'm not sure, the sons of Elam, and they said, We will not come. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you may also make yourself a prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of the field of the vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of the men? We will not come up. And Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, Do not respect their offerings. I have not taken one donkey from them, and I have not harmed one of them. And Moses said to Korah, Be present, you and all your company, before the Lord, you and they, and Aaron tomorrow, and let every one of you take his censer and put incense on it, and every one of you bring before the Lord the censer, 250 censers, you also and Aaron, each his censer. So every man took a censer and put fire in it, then and laid incense on them, and stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Separate yourself from among the congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation? And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the congregation, Get away from the dwellings of Korah, Danath, and Abiram. And Moses rose and went to Daran and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Depart, please, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be swept away with their sin. So they got away from the dwelling of Korah and Danath and Abiram, and Danath and Abiram came out and spoke at the door of their tent together with their wives and their sons and their little ones. And Moses says, Hereby you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, and that I'm sorry, I had a pause for a minute. The phone was ringing. And Moses said, Hereby you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, and that it had not been of my own accord. If these men die, as all men die, or if they are visited by the faith of all mankind, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates something new, and the ground opens up its mouth and swallows them up with all their belongings to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have despised the Lord. And as soon as he had finished speaking all these works, the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened, and the mouth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their household and all their people who belonged to Korah and all their goods. And they said, All that belonged to them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Israel who were around them flew at the cry of, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up. And fire came down from the Lord and consumed all 250 men offering the incense. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell Eleazar and the sons of Aaron and the priests to take up the censers out of the blaze. And they scattered the fire far and wide, for they had become holy. As for the censers of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives, let them be made into hammer plates as a covering for the altar, for their offering them before the Lord, and they became holy. And they said, Be a sign to the people of Israel. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers which those who were burned had offered, and they were hammered out as a covering for the altar, to be a reminder to the people of Israel, so that no outsider who is not of the descendants of Aaron shall draw near to burn incense before the Lord, lest he become like Korah and his company, as the Lord said to him through Moses. But on the next day, all the congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and against Aaron, saying, You have killed the people of the Lord. And when the congregation had assembled against Moses and against Aaron, they turned towards the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Get away from the midst of the congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces. And Moses said to Aaron, Take your censers and put fire on it from off the altar, and lay incense on it, and carry it quickly to the congregation, and make atonement for them. For the wrath has gone out from the Lord. The plague has begun. And Aaron took it as Moses said, and ran into the midst of the assembly, and behold, the plague had already begun among the people. And he put on the incense and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the affairs of Korah. And Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting, where the plague was stopped, or when the plague was stopped. And that concludes our reading. This was a sad chapter again. There's so much disobedience going on among the children of Israel, and God is judging it, and it's recorded for us. We're learning. So let's remember that. So with that said, I'm going to end our session for today. Bye for now.